Hello and welcome to our webinar, No Tape, More Time, Faster Backups for IBM I, AS400, System I, AIX, and Linux platforms. I'm going to go ahead and begin. My name is Axe Signer. I'll be your presenter, Vice President of Solutions, Electronic Storage Corporation. We have been in the software development business for over 30 years. Go ahead and begin my slideshow. We're located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here at our Tulsa office, we have our own programming staff as well as our own technical support staff for our customers. So we're going to do a quick review of the risks of using manual tape for your backups. Tapes can be broken, mislabeled, lost, stolen, and or destroyed. Human error is inevitable and tape backups are always at risk. Holes or gaps in tape backups due to the manual process means incomplete data. This is pretty critical in these times where if you're having to make some sort of travel arrangements to the data center in order to swap out tapes, in order to place tapes back into their offsite storage. This can be expensive and time consuming and could create holes or gaps in your backups due to backups not being completed if tapes aren't being dealt with, being that you're working remotely. And the more tapes that you have, the greater the risks. So these factors: business continuity, cost due to loss of data, facility costs, labor costs, lost customers, cost of purchasing new or replacement tape drives, including tapes themselves. So if your tape drive appears to be getting older where it has to be cleaned much more often, considering a disk-to-disk backup solution would eliminate that issue. Cost of downtime for employees due to access the system while it's being backed up. So if you are experiencing slower backup times due to tape, possibly you have an older tape device, but tape in itself is much slower than actual disk-to-disk backup. And we're going to kind of go over those numbers here during the presentation. Number of customers that could be inconvenienced by loss of data due to the system being down. Tape media degrades. So over time, resulting irretrievable data. Many industries require long retention periods of data that's stored on tape is vulnerable. So this is something definitely to consider when you can save on a disk-to-disk solution and also make copies of those backups from disk to disaster recovery sites or cloud storage or even both. Cost of reputation, having to tell your customers their data has been lost. This can also affect users when they're trying to restore data and the data is located on a tape. So if the information that you're needing to restore, you're needing to refresh, that is not available because the tape is not easily accessible, being able to restore and retrieve data from your backups quickly and easily, basically instantly be able to select a tape that you want to restore data from, and that the restore process begins immediately when all your tapes are online available from disk-to-disk backup. So using virtual tape instead of manual tape is the key to achieving faster backup and recovery. So disk-to-disk backup considerably faster than tape and also faster in restores. Just mentioning the fact that all of your tapes are online, easily selected from a simple web interface that allows you to access all your tapes that are stored on disk within your private network and be able to load those tapes anytime that you need them to be able to perform restores, and the restore starts to begin to run immediately because you never had to go back and retrieve a particular tape from a particular backup. So virtual tape looks exactly like tape to your iSeries platform. What's easy about this solution is that you can continue to use the same backup commands and programs that you're using today. So all the tape backup commands that come natively with the iSeries, save sys, save libraries, option 21, BRMS, robot save, go backup, whatever it is or CL program that you're currently using to back up to tape, you'll be able to use those exact same processes and commands to back up to disk, and doesn't require the manual handling that tape does. So how does a virtual tape look and work compared to using manual tape? So what I mentioned before was a web interface to access all your backups. So that's what we'll take a look at first. So this is our Laservault Vital solution. And Laservault Vital, I actually have two virtual tape libraries defined on this system. So this is software that we developed here with our own programming staff here at our Tulsa office. And this is emulating a tape library. The software can also emulate a tape device. So this particular interface as a tape library, so if you're replacing a physical tape library, you could replace the same capability with this virtual tape library because that's what it's going to emulate. If you're using BRMS or Robot Save, then you're able to use this exactly the same way, because this has auto load and auto unload capabilities just like a physical tape library, except that all the tapes are stored as files on disk. Now, what's really cool about this is that, with your current tape library, let's talk about the differences between that and this. With your current tape library, you have a set of tapes that are in a magazine. You have to take out those tapes, replace them with new tapes, because they've been used for the particular rotation of your dailies and your weekly tapes. Well, with this system, you don't have to do that any longer, because you can store in this system, you can have available for backups over 16,000 tapes. So this gives you a very large tape library for much less the cost of having to do that as a physical tape library. I don't even know if a 16,000 tape slot physical library even exists. Maybe one of those big giant tape silos, but this solution gives you up to over 16,000 tapes that are available for your backups, that are stored. They can be compressed, they can be encrypted. The software includes both of those options for the data being stored on disk. The solution also allows you to store to other disks, such as a SAN or NAS, deduplication appliance. We work with several of those. So this solution gives you a wide variety of options for storing your backups on disk, whether it's external network connected disk or whether it's local disk running on a server. Now, our software runs in typically a Windows 2019 server environment for the OS. Now that can run in a VM. The connectivity from Laservault to the iSeries can be one of two ways: fiber channel or SAS. The exact same way you would connect an external tape device or tape library. And again, it can be fiber channel or SAS. So if you are interested in the VM route, then what you would need in your server is a PCIe slot for a fiber channel or SAS HBA in order to connect Laservault to the iSeries and have a new tape library or a new tape drive available to run your backups. So this interface here gives you what? It gives you all your tapes that are online available to restore from. You see there's a list of those tapes here by volume ID, which is 6 characters allowed, just like for physical tapes. The iSeries allows a volume serial number or volume ID to be 6 characters. And so therefore we have, a set of tapes in here that are available to restore from. The top is the drive. Now this could be multiple tape drives. We do have NPIV, which allows for a single fiber channel port to actually have up to 15 tape devices assigned to that physical fiber channel port. And you could use those tape devices in a tape library. You could use those tape devices individually. However you wanted to configure this, you could configure multiple tape libraries, each with their own drive. Or you can define tape libraries with multiple drives. It's really up to you on how you would like to configure this. In many cases, our customers are, doing the same that they're doing with physical, they're going to do with virtual. Although in some cases, if you'd like to run a parallel save where you're using 2 tapes and 2 drives at once, you can definitely set that up with this, and your backups will be even faster than just saving to 1 virtual tape. This interface here lets you do some other things like move a tape to a different slot or move a tape to a drive. Let's say you had to IPL your system, you needed to restore from a full system save. You could actually go here, move that tape into the drive, and then use this as an alternate IPL device. As an administrator, I have the ability to delete the tape, export the tape, which will move it out of inventory into an export path. This particular export path is to cloud storage on Microsoft Azure. But that path could be, wherever you'd like to store that tape. If maybe it's a long-term tape that you're keeping for several months or several years, you'd like to move it to cloud storage or to storage that is at a different location. The export capability gives you the option to move that tape out of inventory. Now you can click on the import button here, and that'll go to the path and show you all your tapes that you've exported, and you can select one of those tapes and import it. And that brings it back from that storage into the local storage back into the tape library, and then you can restore data from that tape. But this gives you a list of everything that you've exported, and you can easily select what you need to import back, and it will add it back into the inventory of the tape library. So this solution is going to be can automatically load and unload tapes just like a physical tape library. It's going to be a lot faster than tape in terms of saving. The speed in which you can save the data is going to be a lot faster than tape because you are writing to disk. The configuration of the library, I mentioned the number of storage slots. What's great about this is that you can set the number of slots for the tapes that you're going to need in your rotations. Well, if you need more slots, you can always increase that number without any license fee or charge or another authorization code. Our authorization code, again, covers up to 16,000 slots for up to 16,000 tapes. Another thing that's really important is that you can see that the Ultrium level is 5, LTO 5. Well, it's important to know that there's no storage limit on these virtual tapes. So you can write to one tape multiple terabytes of data and never run out of space on that tape. So know that when your full system save, if it takes currently 2 tapes, because of the limit on your LTO tapes, it will only take 1 tape with Laservault. And you can also append a tape. So you can add to the tape if you need to. If you're saving, multiple saves to a tape, can definitely be done if you want to append. There's compression and encryption. Compression, it averages about 5 to 1. I've seen it as high as 10 to 1. I've seen customers with lots of IFS document PDFs or document images. That would typically be around the 3 to 1 compression because those files are already compressed. But specifically DB2 data, you're going to find a 5 to 1 as high as a 10 to 1 compression. There's encryption capability, and there's also replication. So the ability to make copies of your backups. I have 3 examples of how you can set certain volumes or all volumes specifically to replicate to alternate storage. So you're making copies of the backups to other disks. Network path. So if you have a second Laservault server that has storage at a DR location, even SunGuard or wherever that you happen to be wanting to store second copies of your backups, that storage could be accessible from Laservault, and therefore automated replication of those tapes could make copies of those backups to that storage. I also have Amazon S3 is cloud storage and Microsoft Azure cloud storage. So those are 2 that you can set where you can set up your cloud storage accounts, and that information can be plugged into this replication process in order to copy your backups directly to cloud. Of course, they can be compressed before you copy them and also encrypted. And that can occur actually during the backup and won't slow down the backup process. Also, you can do is set retentions. So within any of the replication settings that you do, you can set retention on your local copies as well as your remote copies. So if you have certain copies that you're replicating, you want them to store longer at the remote location than in the local location, you can do that. Now, of course, if you're using BRMS or Robot Save, then that's handling the retention for you, loading the next available tape that's been expired, saving to it. That tape is going to get replicated and it's going to write over the previous time that it was saved. It's going to write over that when it does the replication. So you'll get the new data replicated to the remote site for that tape that you just saved, that you just reused. You can also set based on the volume prefix. So if you have a certain 1, 2, or 3 characters that you use for your volumes, for your dailies, weeklies, and monthlies, and you may want to set those differently. Each of those sets of volumes based on the prefix set a different retention and replication for those set of volumes. The fact that I have an asterisk here just applies to all volumes. So whatever settings I have here, those get applied to all the volumes that I'm replicating and setting retention for. For replication jobs, this here will show you what is currently being replicated and what is currently completed. So any replications that are running or replications that have completed. So this gives you a pretty good idea is that you can go into this anytime that you need to create more tapes, load tapes, export tapes, import tapes. There's a protect option, so you can protect the tape. Now you can do that from the iSeries side too. There's a command that we provide that will let you put the protect on that tape to where then it cannot be deleted, it cannot be initialized, and it cannot be overwritten. Labels, this is pretty cool here because if you're needing to know what's on the tape, you can go here, go to the tape, click on labels for that tape, and it shows you all the libraries that are in that tape that were saved. The sequence number, and also a nice handy feature there is that it shows you the actual data size for each of the libraries. So this is a really good interface that everyone really enjoys using compared to manual tape, because what's great about this is that we work with a lot of customers that are currently working from home. So they're working remotely. They're not at the data center on a daily basis, and they're having to go in and change out tapes, take tapes off site. And this becomes where that has to be coordinated with, if the one person's not available, it has to be coordinated with another person. This would completely eliminate that because you're able to set up all the tapes that you need for your rotations and not have to be on site in order to have to deal with physical tapes. Now on the iSeries side, we can see that TAP MLB V1 is our tape library for Laservault. TAP V1 is the tape device for that tape library. Again, with NPIV, with one physical fiber channel connection, you can have up to 15 devices, whether those are 15 individual tape libraries, a tape library with 15 drives. It's however that you want to configure it. I can also set Laservault up with a tape device, TAP V2. You can use this and you can use Laservault as a tape device instead of a tape library. So if you're not using BRMS, you're not using Robot Save, and you're using the standard tape, the save commands that come with the iSeries for saving to tape or Go Backup. This makes a really great solution for just simply using it as a tape device. And we have some iSeries commands that allow you to create a tape or load a tape. And so let's say you're creating a new tape. You can have the system automatically create your tape, initialize it. It's going to be loaded in the drive. And then you can perform your save. And then you can set a retention on those tapes. If you wanted to, you could create a set of tapes for your rotations, And within a CL program, you could load a tape because we have a load tape command. We could load the tape. It could automatically be initialized because you're going to reuse it for today's backup. It's a tape that you're going to reuse. Say it's a Wednesday tape, you have it automatically load. It gets initialized and you save to it using TAP v2. So either way, you could set this up to where it's completely automated. Even though you don't have it set up as a tape library, you could completely automate the creating and loading of tapes so that you don't no longer have to be on site and dealing with physical tapes. Okay, so oops. Let me go back to my other slide here. Let's take a look at this slide. We talk about speeds of the backup. So if we look at the comparisons of these megabyte per second speeds with the different LTOs all the way up to LTO 8, we can see down below where you can see the size limits of those tapes. You can see that the VTL solution has an unlimited size on tapes, so your backups will no longer take up more than one tape if they currently do, or ever. And the backup speed, so 550 megabytes per second and up. You can achieve some serious fast backup speeds with this, where in some of these cases where depending on which LTO version you're using, you will basically double the speed of your backup, cutting the backup window in half. So for some of you that are running into a tight window on your backups, this could be a great solution to reduce that window and relieve some extra time in there for other system processing that is not currently being taken because backups are running. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about VTL, where you have actual VTL backup appliances. Again, these appliances are Windows servers with storage, fiber channel or SAS connections to the iSeries. They could have disk storage. We actually do provide servers with whatever disk storage that you needed, and we could calculate that based on the compression ratio. And this is going to give you the tape devices that you're needing on your iSeries machine in order to perform your backups from one or more backup partitions. We also show replication, so you have a second VTL appliance at a DR site, and so you have disk on that second storage server, and the backups are being replicated. There's also two options to copy your backups to tape. You can do a tape out, or you can duplicate media, where you can copy from disk, the tapes that are on disk, to your physical tape device on your iSeries. So if you wanted to use that to copy to tapes, because you'll still have two copies. That's what's great about disk-to-disk backup, is that with tape, you only have just the one copy, and it has to be stored off-site or in a storage vault or across the street or wherever, at least to where if you had some sort of disaster where you lost your system, you would need that tape in order to recover your data. Well, this gives you the ability to create two copies, whether you're copying to tape or whether you're copying to disk or cloud storage, and it's completely automated. So it's making two copies of your tapes is not really feasible. But this is, because it's completely automated. There's no manual processing involved. Unless you're copying to tape, then you would load a tape for that. But if you're going from disk to disk, you can go to cloud storage. You can go to a DR appliance. If you have a SAN or NAS that currently does replication, you could use that, because you could use Laservault as a gateway to attach to your storage through NFS or CIF share, and give Laservault access to that path in which all the tapes reside in that storage, and those are being replicated. So the nice thing about that is that you can use your current backup solution, whatever you're backing up to that disk storage, you could also use to back up your iSeries data and get all the same benefits of any deduplication that's occurring on that data, encryption and also replication. Another tape copy capability is you could connect a tape device to Laservault to the server itself, and we can tape out the data to that tape, and you can use that tape in an IBM tape device to do restores. Okay, so a little bit about, I've mentioned NPIV. Again, 15 virtual devices. I'm using 16 gig fiber channel as my port configuration in this diagram, which is typically what you would use in the Laservault server in order to do NPIV. Although you can do NPIV with 8 gigabit fiber channel, a lot of times we're doing NPIV with 16 gig fiber channel, at least in the Laservault side. Even if the switch and the fiber channel on the iSeries might be 8 gig, you could still present the speed would be 8 gig at Laservault, but you would still be able to present multiple tape devices. Replicating to cloud. So we talked a little bit about that with an option in your replication to make copies of your backups. And backing up data to a SAN or NAS. That means that Laservault is just the gateway. It's just the VTL to the iSeries. You're providing the storage. It's connected to the storage. This can be a Windows server that you provided. It could be a VM instead. Again, you'll want a PCIe slot in your server that's hosting the VM in order to do that fiber channel connection or SAS connection to the iSeries. UBD. So I haven't really mentioned UBD, but in our VTL solution, we have what's called the UBD mode. And I talked about it where I showed TAP V2 as your tape device. And that means that basically what you're doing is that you're using it as a tape device instead of a tape library. And you're issuing, one of our two commands or one of our two commands to load or create a tape. So you can automatically create tapes, automatically load tapes. It looks just like a tape drive. So automatically creating or loading tapes gives you the ability to not have to deal with physical tape and having to do that same process physically on site. Display tape and check tape, you can do that, going to the web interface. You can go to the web interface and manually load the tape, do a display tape. The other thing too is that in restores, this will go right to where the data is located. So it's not having to seek through the tape to actually begin the restore. To locate that data and restore, this system will go right to that data where it's located, right down to the object in the library, and that means the restore will begin immediately without any seek time that you might be dealing with in terms of tape when you're performing restores. Okay, so virtual tape library solution for power systems, simplify operations, reduce or eliminate tape. So many of our customers have completely eliminated tape and has relieved a lot of that manual processing, which is associated with a lot of costs and time consumption in dealing with physical tapes. Save your backups to disk, SAN, NAS, deduplication appliance, Exagrid, Cohesity rubrics. Those are the three that we work with quite a bit, as well as many others for deduplication backup appliances. Backup to cloud for another layer of data protection. So you can do disk to disk replication as well as disk to disk and cloud replication. So you can do both with the same set of tapes if you wanted to. Easily integration with BRMS, robot save, or other backup commands. High-speed backup and rapid recovery of your data. No limit on virtual size of the tape, so you don't have to worry about LTO space anymore. Don't have to upgrade your LTO tape drive. You don't have to worry about doing that if your backups are starting to creep up on the limit of your LTO tapes. So if you'd like to have a custom demo, online demo of the product to really go over your backup environment, what you're currently doing now in terms of backup, are you using tape? Would you how many partitions that you're backing up, how much data that you're backing up, talk about replication, talk about storage, really get everything together that you need to fit your backup environment for a solution that's going to get you away from tape. Also, the other benefit of doing a demo is a $50 Amazon gift card. Once the demo is completed, we'll send that to you via email. Really appreciate your time. Here's some contact information for us. Email at info@laservault.com. Extension 1001, that actually calls me directly. So if you have any questions, if you want to call me directly, use that extension. And you can reach me and we can go over some more information, answer questions. Now there are two technical documents for ViTL and UBD. Basically the same product, you're really just using it differently depending on how you currently run backups from your iSeries. But those technical specification documents are in the GoToWebinar panel, in which you can go ahead and access those from the GoToWebinar panel and download those and review those. This is also being recorded, and we'll be sending a link it'll be posted on YouTube, so there'll be a link for going back to taking a look at this webinar again. But certainly going in more detail of how the product is going to work for your environment will be a great benefit if you're considering an alternative to tape. So thanks again for your time. We really appreciate it. We are going to be doing a giveaway of a Bluetooth Soundlink portable speaker. The winner of that will be notified via email. And again, want to thank everyone for your time and have a great rest of your day.